My stepfather introduced me to a wealthy woman brazen in every way. She insulted me, saying an orphan like me deserves another orphan. You and her are a perfect match, she sneered. My useless leeching younger brother stood by watching me like I was a joke. But when he smugly pushed me to go on this blind date, he had no idea the woman waiting for me was someone he'd have to look up to his entire life. Hey, Henry! And Tracy asked Mrs. Matchmaker to set you up with someone. They say she's a businesswoman. Filthy rich, I've seen her picture. She's got the look of someone who brings good fortune to a husband. She's just a bit older and divorced. But for a woman, being caring is enough. This Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, at the Imperial Hotel restaurant. Dressed sharply. Don't embarrass me. My stepfather Tracy Swan's voice over the phone made me feel as disgusted as always. I was tweaking a core piece of code, not even bothering to lift my eyes. I replied calmly, such a great catch. Why not keep her for my brother? Honestly, he'd have to settle for it. The other end of the line went eerily silent. Tracy clearly didn't expect I dare talk back to her like that. Truth is, my half-brother was pampered by her since he was a kid. Her very lifeblood. How can you talk like that, you brat? She let out a dry laugh. She's a businesswoman, looking for someone mature, dependable. Your brother's too young, not a good fit besides. She's an orphan, no family ties to complicate things. Perfect for you. Her words stabbed through my lungs like a needle. After my mother passed, my father married her. In this house, I truly lived like an orphan. An orphan deserves an orphan. She sure knows how to scheme. Knowing I didn't want to argue further, I hung up abruptly. A few minutes later, WeChat pinged with a photo she sent. In it, a middle-aged woman with a heavy build, face gleaming with oil, wearing a mink coat, several gold rings on her fingers, trying hard to strike a pose for the camera, squeezing out a smile she thought was seductive. As expected, Tracy's pics are always top-notch trash. I gave a cold laugh, saved the photo. This blind date, I'd definitely go. Not just go. I play this farce to perfection. Sunday afternoon, I deliberately dug out from my closet the oldest checkered shirt I owned, paired it with faded jeans, and a pair of flip-flops. With a scruffy beard, I left the house. If this was to be a Hongman banquet, I'd show up looking the part of a guest. But when I arrived at the Imperial Hotel, following the waiter's directions to the reserved table, my entire body froze. On the chair, a woman gazed quietly out the window, her delicate face cold as moonlight, an extraordinary aura. She wore a tailored white blazer, her long hair cascading freely. Even from just a profile view, she elevated the entire restaurant's ambience by a whole level. My brain stalled for 3 seconds. Then, trembling, I pulled out my phone, comparing it over and over to the photo of that plump auntie. No, this was all wrong. The woman in the photo and the one before me had nothing in common except their gender, because this woman I knew, her name was Willow Grace, the CEO of our company Future Innovations, the Ice Goddess. In the hearts of everyone at the company, my toes curled awkwardly in my flip-flops. I could have dug a Disney castle right there on the spot. If I'd known my blind date was her, I'd have crawled home to change into something else. I wouldn't have come at all. Willow Grace seemed to sense my presence. She slowly turned her head. Her cold gaze landed on me, without the slightest ripple, as if whether I wore a dragon robe or flip-flops made no difference to her. I'm done for this time. I'm losing my job. My scalp tingled, mustering all my courage. I forced a smile uglier than a sob. I broke the deadly silence first. Hello, CEO Willow. Are you here for lunch too? Willow Grace looked at me, her lips curved slightly, her voice clear. I'm waiting for someone. I let out a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, thank goodness. Just a coincidence. Well then, you carry on. I'm also waiting for someone. I pointed at the table, awkwardly explaining I'm here for a blind date. As soon as I said it, I wanted to slap myself. Telling the CEO I'm here for a blind date. What kind of brain-dead move was that? What a coincidence. Willow Grace lifted the glass of lemonade in front of her, taking a small sip. I'm here for the same reason. The air froze again. I stared at her. She stared back. CEO Willow, don't joke. I gave a weak laugh, showing her my phone. The person I was set up with is this auntie. Willow Grace glanced at the photo and said indifferently that photo's fake. The person you're meeting today is me. My mind exploded. CEO Willow, what? What's going on here? My tongue felt like it couldn't straighten. My stepfather, you only need to know that the person sitting here today is me. Willow Grace cut me off, her tone calm, but carrying an undeniable strength. I was completely stunned. A programmer and an IC CEO on a blind date. This plot wouldn't even make it into a third-rate web novel. CEO Willow, there must be some misunderstanding. I tried to explain. Henry. Willow Grace suddenly called my name. Core programmer in the road department. 3 years with the company. Led and resolved 3 major system crises. Your proposal on platform architecture optimization. If read it. It's very insightful. She knew me inside out. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. In front of her, I felt like a clown stripped bare. What kind of person your stepfather set you up with? I know perfectly well. Willow Grace's gaze softened slightly. You don't want this kind of marriage, do you? I nodded instinctively. Neither do I. She continued, I need a partner to deal with the troubles in my family. And you need a shield to make your family back off. My brain spun, finally grasping her meaning. You mean a fake marriage? We can start by playing the part of lovers. Willow Grace added. For example, this coming Lunar New Year, I can go back to your hometown with you. Go back with me. To have a CEO worth hundreds of millions come to my tiny village to deal with petty family drama. It sounded absurd. Why me? I voiced the deepest doubt in my heart. Because you're suitable. Willow Grace's answer was flawless. You're smart, capable with a simple background. Most importantly, you're like me. We both need a quiet life. I fell silent. Her words hit my weakest spot. I really did need a shield. One strong enough to silence Tracy Swan and her relatives. A shield so powerful they wouldn't dare utter a word. And Willow Grace was undoubtedly the best choice, even beyond my wildest expectations. But there's no free lunch in this world. What's the price I have to pay? I looked up, meeting her eyes directly. For the first time, I looked at her, so closely, so seriously. Her eyes were bright. I want you and your talent. Willow Grace's tone left no room for doubt. The company is preparing a new independent project, Project Genesis, in the field of advanced artificial intelligence. I want you to be the technical lead for this project. In return, besides the position and salary you deserve, I'll play whatever role you need to resolve all your family troubles. She paused, then added, this is a deal. Henry, you help me achieve my career ambitions, and I help you secure a peaceful life, fair and square. My heart surged. Project Genesis, the top secrets level project rumored within the company. The core of future innovations bet on the future, and they wanted to hand it to me. The price was too high to refuse. CEO Willow. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. If it's just acting, why not hire a professional actress? The corner of Willow Grace's mouth curved into a real smile for the first time, like ice beginning to melt. Because an actress would slip. But we can make the fake feel real. My heart pounded. I need time to think. I tried to keep my voice steady. Fine, Willow Grace replied decisively. But your father's phone is probably about to ring, isn't it? As soon as she finished, my phone buzzed frantically. The screen flashed towards Dad. I stared at the phone as if fate had sealed itself, and answered, hello. Henry, you little punk. Where are you? MR's matchmaker called Aunt Tracy already, saying the woman waited half a day and you didn't show. You stood her up, didn't you? I'm telling you this year. I cut off his rant, saying calmly, Dad, I've met her. Met her and then what? We hit it off. I glanced at Willow Grace across from me. She was watching me with interest, a faint smile in her eyes. I went all in. We fell for each other at first sight. She's agreed to come home with me for the new year. The other end went dead silent. I hung up. My entire body felt drained. I looked at Willow Grace, giving a bitter smile this time. I really have no choice left. You never had a choice. Willow Grace replied bluntly. From the moment you agreed to this blind date, you stepped into my plan. That photo was my doing too. It hit me. Oh, she nodded. I know how your stepfather operates, and I know your personality. Only a photo like that would make you come without suspicion, and only by letting you see a future like that would you realize how much the present I'm offering is worth cherishing. So, from start to finish, I'd been thoroughly played. This woman wasn't just beautiful, she was terrifyingly cunning. You weren't afraid I'd refuse and walk away. I asked unconvinced. You wouldn't. Willow Grace was certain. Because you're proud. You wouldn't let yourself look like a coward, running away in front of your CEO. You'd want to figure out what was going on. She'd read my thoughts perfectly. I deflated completely, slumping into the chair. Fine. CEO, will you win? The deal was sealed, but I have one condition. I said at the company, we remain strictly professional. I don't want this to affect my work. That's my line in the sand. I don't want to be seen as a freeloader. Agreed. Willow Grace nodded decisively. Not only that, the Project Genesis team will move to an independent workspace under your full control, reporting directly to me. That way we minimize any gossip. She'd even thought of that. What else could I say? Happy cooperation. CEO Willow. I extended my hand. Willow Grace reached out, gently grasping mine. Her hand was cool but soft. Happy cooperation. Henry. She paused, then added, outside the office you can call me Grace. This blind date ended in an atmosphere strange yet harmonious. On the way home my mind was still a mess. I pulled out my phone and sent a WeChat to my best friend Lucas Young. Hey man, I went on a blind date today and ended up meeting the big boss of my company. Lucas replied instantly with 3 question marks. Willow Grace, the legendary ice goddess. Lucas, holy crap. What kind of jackpot did you hit? Your stepmom's connections are that good. It's a long story. Bottom line, she's coming home with me for the new year. A minute of silence from his end. Buddy, you sure you're not being scammed? Scams these days are sophisticated. They target emotionally starved, outstanding guys like you. She's worth hundreds of millions. What's she gonna scam my half-paid off apartment? Lucas, then what does she want from you? Your refusal to shower. Go to hell. She says she wants my good looks and talent. Lucas, alright fine. Pretend I didn't ask. But seriously, this is too wild. Be careful. Don't end up sold off and counting the money for them. I looked at Lucas' reply and gave a bitter smile. Sold. I feel like I'm the meat on the chopping block right now. And how it's carved up is entirely up to Willow Grace. But strangely, I wasn't scared. Instead, I felt a flicker of anticipation. On the 28th of the lunar month, the company officially closed for the new year. I drove my 5-year-old Volkswagen and parked under Willow Grace's apartment building, looking at the luxurious riverside high-rise, the city's most expensive. Then at my beat-up old car. For the first time, I truly felt the gap between us. Soon, Willow Grace came out pulling an exquisite suitcase. Today, she wore a long cream-colored down coat, a simple sweater and jeans underneath, snow boots on her feet, her long hair tied neatly into a ponytail, no makeup on her face. Gone was the cold, distant aura from the office. Now she looked just like the girl next door, fresh and warm. I stared dumbfounded. What are you looking at? She opened the car door, slid into the passenger seat, and casually handed me a carefully wrapped gift box. Gifts for meeting your dad and aunt. I took it, feeling its heavy weight. What's this? 2 watches and some health supplements. I opened it and gasped. Patek Philippe and Jaeger-LeCoultre. These 2 watches alone could buy a house in my county. This is too much. I hurriedly tried to give it back. They're props for the act. Willow Grace fastened her seatbelt, saying nonchalantly, if we're acting, we go all in. To make everyone believe Willow Grace would marry no one but you. Her words carried a magic that left me unable to argue. I accepted the gifts and started the car. The drive from the city to my hometown took over for hours. mostly on the highway at night. The car was quiet, only the sound of music playing. To break the awkwardness, I started talking, telling her about my childhood. When I was a kid, I was always top of my class, the village's only hope. I gave a self-mocking laugh. Back then, my dad would brag to everyone that I'd surely get into Tsinghua or Peking University, bringing glory to our ancestors. And then Willow Grace listened quietly. Then my mom passed away. He married Tracy Swan and had my brother. After that, no matter how high my grades were, how many awards I got, I'd just smile, pat my head, and turn to boast about my brother. They never mistreated me, but they stopped giving me love. As I said this, my tone was calm, as if I were telling someone else's story. Over the years, I'd gotten used to it. Truth is, I'm a staunch believer in staying single. I looked at the streetlights flashing by outside. With an ordinary soul like mine, I can't bloom. So I especially hate them forcing me to go on blind date, pushing me to marry. Then why did you agree to this deal? Willow Grace suddenly asked. Because I paused. Because I want to see them lose. I want to see Tracy Swan scheming to push me out, only to realize I found someone she doesn't even have the right to envy. I want to see her face twist with jealousy. Saying these words, I was stunned myself. Turns out deep in my heart, I harbored such deep resentment and desire for revenge. Willow Grace didn't comment on my thoughts. She only said softly, "You will." Her voice was light, but it was like a sedative, calming my restless heart instantly. Midnight, the car left the highway and entered the familiar rural road. Looking at the familiar scenery outside, I suddenly remembered something. By the way, my entire school life, I only came in second once, I said with a hint of frustration. It was the middle school graduation exam. A girl who transferred from the county stole first place. My perfect academic record ruined just like that. Isn't that infuriating? What was her name? Willow Grace asked. I forgot. I just remember she was a skinny girl. Didn't talk much. After the exam, she left, and I never saw her again. I shook my head, pushing the old memory out of my mind. The car stopped in front of our courtyard gate. To avoid waking the family, I led Willow Grace through the side door, sneaking into my room. My room was small, with just a 15-meter bed. This is all my house has. Tonight, we'll share the bed, okay? As soon as I said it, my face flushed. Even if it was a contractual relationship, having a CEO share my bed was just too thrilling. Willow Grace looked at the bed, then at me, her eyes calm. She just nodded fine. She agreed. My heart skipped a beat. It was cold that night. Winter in the South has no heating. I lay on the bed, my body stiff as a rock, even breathing carefully. Next to me was Willow Grace. I could smell the faint, pleasant scent coming from her. In the darkness, I could hear her steady breathing. She seemed to be asleep, while I was wide awake, ready to write an algorithm. Are you cold? In the dark, Willow Grace's voice suddenly spoke. I startled, stammering, "Ear." A little. The next second, a warm, soft body pressed against me. An arm wrapped around my waist. Every hair on my body stood on end. My mind went blank. Feel better now. Her voice, slightly husky from waking, rang in my ear. My ears felt like they were burning. "Ear." Much better, I replied stiffly. "Sleep," she said, then went quiet. But I couldn't sleep anymore. Was I holding Willow Grace? No, she was holding me. My heart groaned. Her body is so soft and warm. Is this really the ICCEO who makes all the senior executives tremble? The contrast was too much. That night, I barely slept, my mind racing with random thoughts. I only drifted off near dawn. The next morning, a piercing scream woke me. It was my brother. I bolted upright, rushed out the door, and saw Willow Grace standing in the living room. My brother covering his eyes, looking like he'd seen a ghost, hid in Tracy's arms. "Mom, our house. Why is there a hooligan woman here?" My brother's voice was shrill. My dad, hearing the commotion, came out of his room and looked at Willow Grace in shock. I hurried over, casually putting an arm around Willow Grace, facing my dad and Tracy. I flashed a practice smile. "Dad and Tracy, let me introduce. This is my girlfriend Willow Grace. I deliberately emphasized girlfriend. Tracy's expression froze instantly. She couldn't believe it, scanning Willow Grace up and down, then looking at me, stammering this. Is this the match? Mrs. Matchmaker set up. She clearly couldn't connect the stunning beauty before her with the greasy auntie in the photo. When my brother got a good look at Willow Grace's face, his eyes widened, swallowing hard. Bro, this is your girlfriend. His tone dripped with jealousy and resentment. Bro, how'd you land someone like her? Before he could finish, Tracy cut him off. How'd you find such a beautiful girlfriend, right? I smiled, picking up his sentence, tightening my arm around Willow Grace. 8 years of suppression finally had a moment to shine. Tracy's face flickered between pale and green. She awkwardly changed the subject. Little Zoc didn't mean it that way. Yes, I did. My brother pushed Tracy aside, pointing at me, shouting, a woman this beautiful. Mom, why didn't you set her up with me? He's almost 30. Just a workaholic. What does he know about romance? Before I could respond, my dad's face darkened. He slapped the back of my brother's head. You little punk, talking to your brother like that. Then he turned to Willow Grace, his face instantly breaking into a fawning smile. Oh, little Willow, right? Come sit. Don't mind this kid. Willow Grace nodded politely to my dad, smiling as she spoke. Her voice soft but clear to everyone. Uncle. Hello, I pursued him first. Meeting him is my greatest fortune. Her words shut everyone up. I looked at their expressions, feeling one word: satisfaction. My dad was clearly thrilled with this daughter-in-law. He eagerly poured tea, asking warmly, little Willow, Henry says you run your own company. So young and already so accomplished. Willow Grace took the tea, smiling serenely. You're too kind, uncle. It's just a small business. It'll need Henry's help a lot in the future. Her words were humble, yet subtly elevated my status. Tracy, listening nearby, her face grew uglier by the second. Finally, she couldn't hold back, saying in a snide tone, Henry, who exactly is this match I set you up with? Why don't I remember her at all? She just wanted to embarrass me in front of Willow Grace, pointing out how many blind dates I'd been on. But Willow Grace preempted me with a sincere, flawless expression. Auntie, it's the match you asked Mrs. Matchmaker to arrange last week. Thanks to you, I met a wonderful man like Henry. I'm truly grateful. She even stood up and gave Tracy a slight bow. Tracy was hit by this combo, caught completely off guard, only able to force a stiff smile. Oh, maybe I got it mixed up. I held back laughter, watching Tracy's deflated expression, feeling better than drinking ice-cold Coke in summer. Just then, a commotion came from the courtyard. Speak of the devil, and he appears. My aunts and cousins, as if on cue, barged in with baskets of fruit, making a racket. Leading the pack were my third aunt and fourth aunt, infamous in the village as venomous snakes. Oh, Henry's back, huh? Haven't seen you in a year, looking handsomer. My third aunt grabbed my hand as she entered, launching into her usual spiel. What's the use of being handsome? Still can't find a girlfriend. My fourth aunt immediately chimed in. The two were in perfect sync. Look at my son, Strong. Fresh out of college, passed the civil service exam. Already has a 2-year-old kid. A man needs a stable family, you know. My cousin Strong was there too, holding his kid in the corner, eyes ringed with dark circles, looking like he'd lost the will to live. My third and fourth aunts went on, one leading the other backing, spit flying everywhere. The relatives around joined in, turning the living room into a full-blown roast of me. I said nothing, just watched them perform. When they were nearly done, I cleared my throat and said slowly, and 3. And for thanks for your concern. I paused, under everyone's curious gazes. I took Willow Grace's hand, leading her forward. But I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. I have a girlfriend now. One sentence, and the living room fell silent. All eyes landed on Willow Grace. Shocked, doubt, disbelief, emotions swirled, and 3 reacted first, squinting as she sized up Willow Grace, then giving a forced laugh. Henry, you can't lie to us elders. Isn't it trendy online now? Renting a girlfriend to bring home for the new year. This girl's so beautiful. You didn't hire her, did you? Her words triggered knowing looks from the relatives. I smiled, not answering her. Instead, looking at Willow Grace with affection, saying gently, "Darling, they don't believe our love is real. What do we do?" That darling gave me goosebumps. But Willow Grace played along perfectly, her lips curving slightly, a spark of amusement in her eyes. Then, from her Hermes bag, she pulled something out. A red property deed. She placed it gently on the table, sliding it toward my dad. Her voice soft but clear. "Uncle, this is the wedding house I'm giving Henry. A large riverside apartment in the city center, paid in full, registered only in his name." She paused, then pulled out a car key. "And this car, for his daily commute." On the table, a Bentley key lay quietly. The living room was so silent you could hear a pin drop, and 3's mouth could fit an egg, and 4's face turned purple as a pig's liver. Willow Grace looked at the stunned crowd, smiling as she played her final card. "As for the dowry, I don't need one. I'll even give Uncle and Auntie 3 million. As a token for changing how we address each other. The wedding will be in June. I hope all the elders will attend." After sending off the dazed relatives, I pulled my dad aside, handing him the deed and car key. "Dad, hold on to these for now." My dad's hands trembled as he took them, too moved to speak. "Good. My son's made something of himself." Tracy and my brother stood nearby, eyes red, staring at the items in my dad's hands, like they wanted to burn holes through them. I couldn't be bothered with them. Pulling Willow Grace back to my room, "You went way overboard," I said, closing the door, my voice tinged with fear. "The deed and key are real, of course." Willow Grace sat on the bed looking at me with amusement. "Otherwise, how could we shut them up?" "But this is part of the deal." She cut me off. "I said I'd solve your family troubles. The most effective way to silence them is to use what they value most. To shut their mouths." I looked at her, my heart swirling with mixed emotions. This woman could always see through everything. "Thank you," I said sincerely. "No need." Willow Grace shook her head. She suddenly looked up, staring at me seriously. "Henry, do you remember me?" When I froze, she reached under her collar, pulling out something tied with a red string, and held it out to me. It was a small eraser, slightly yellowed, with a smiley face drawn in pen. My pupils shrank. "This eraser, the day before the graduation exam, I was cornered by some thugs in an alley. You stepped and used your lunch money to get me out." Willow Grace's eyes held a gentleness I'd never seen. "When you left, you tossed me this eraser and said, 'Don't cry anymore. You've got an exam tomorrow.'" Sealed memories flooded back. That quiet, skinny transfer student, it was you. I was too shocked to speak. "The one who stole my first place spot." Willow Grace burst out laughing. The first time I'd seen her laugh so freely. "Yes, it was me." I looked at her, suddenly understanding everything. There was no deal, no partnership. From start to finish, it was all a meticulously planned reunion. I was at a loss for words. "I looked for you for years," she said, "until 3 years ago, when I saw your name on the company's new employee list." So that's how it was. My heart felt filled, warm. Just then, the door burst open. My brother poked his head in, holding a bowl of soup. "Sister-in-law, my mom made chicken soup for you. Drink up." He grinned sleazily, his eyes wandering shamelessly over Willow Grace. Her face turned cold instantly. I stepped in front of her, staring at him icily. "Get out." "Bro, what's your deal?" "I'm just being nice." I said, "Get out." My voice carried anger. My brother, intimidated by my intensity, shrunk back, preparing to leave. But as he turned, he stumbled, spilling the scalding chicken soup all over Willow Grace. My pupils contracted. Without thinking, I spun around, pulling her into my arms. The hot soup splashed entirely onto my back. The searing pain made me cry out. "Henry!" Willow Grace gasped, rushing to support me. Tracy and my dad, hearing the commotion, burst in. Seeing the scene, Tracy's first reaction wasn't concern for me, but to scream, shielding my brother. "Oh, my poor boy, you didn't get burned, did you?" My brother hid behind her, a flash of triumph in his eyes. In that moment, my heart went completely cold. My dad looked at my pained expression, then at my brother being protected, his lips trembling. Finally, he grabbed a broom nearby and swung at my brother. "I'll beat you to death, you little beast." "How dare you, Tracy," like a mother hen, spread her arms to block him. He didn't mean it. Besides, the one burned is Henry, not your precious daughter-in-law. You hit your own son for an outsider. When he was little, he stole money and blamed me. You covered for him. Now he tries to harm my fiancé, and you're still covering for him. I endured the pain in my back, looking at Tracy coldly. "In your eyes, he's always right. Fine, today I give this house back to you all." I turned to my dad. "Dad, all these years I've tried my best." With that, I didn't look at his disappointed, pained eyes again, took Willow Grace's hand, and walked out of the suffocating house without looking back. Decades later, after leaving that house, Willow Grace took me straight to the best hospital in the county. After examination, the doctor said my back had second-degree burns, and I needed to be admitted for observation, lying in a VIP ward. Willow Grace personally applied medicine to my back. Her touch was gentle, her eyes full of concern. "Does it hurt?" "Not at all." I shook my head. "Compared to you, this pain is nothing. She'd done so much for me. Taking this for her was the least I could do." Willow Grace's hand paused, her eyes reddening. "You're such an idiot." "You're the idiot," I laughed, setting up this whole elaborate play for a silly kid from over a decade ago. We looked at each other and smiled. No words were needed. After the New Year holiday, we returned to the city. I didn't go back to my small apartment, but was kidnapped by Willow Grace to her luxurious riverside penthouse. In her words, "You're a patient. You need someone to take care of you." And I officially took over Project Genesis. Willow Grace kept her word, giving me the highest authority and the best resources. I dove into work day and night, leading the team through technical challenges. My relationship with Willow Grace caused a huge stir in the company, especially after I started driving that Bentley and frequently visited the CEO's office. Rumors flew everywhere. "Have you heard? Henry's being kept by CEO Willow." My goddess, how could she fall for an ordinary programmer like him? Sigh, she chose the wrong guy. I just laughed off the gossip. Until one lunch break, my best friend Lucas cornered me in the cafeteria, full of curiosity. "Hey man, what's really going on with you and CEO Willow? Is it for real?" I looked at him, feeling the time was right, and pulled a red wedding invitation from my pocket, handing it to him. "Next month the 6th, don't forget to come for the drinks." Lucas took the invitation, opened it, and froze. "Groom Henry, bride Willow Grace." He pinched his own philtrum, looking at me like I was an alien, muttering 3 words: "Holy Mother." Our wedding wasn't extravagant, just close friends and colleagues invited. In Bali, we held a simple but romantic ceremony. My dad came, looking much older. During the wedding, he held my hand, tears streaming, repeating, "I'm sorry." I patted his back. "It's over." Tracy and my brother didn't show, and I didn't invite them. I heard my brother threw a tantrum that day, smashing everything he could. Our married life was sweet and full. Willow Grace in private shed her CEO persona completely. She was gentle, thoughtful, even a bit clumsy, panicking when she couldn't find her socks. My career exploded too. The first phase of Project Genesis was announced, shocking the entire tech industry. The company's stock soared. From an ordinary programmer, I became a rising star in tech. We became the fairytale couple everyone envied, undefeatable teammates, and each other's softest haven. Years later, my dad called, saying my brother, over 30, still hadn't found a match, lazing around at home driving Tracy's hair gray. He was at his wit's end, asking if I could use my connections to find my brother a good girl. I smiled and agreed, then told my assistant to compile all the weird blind date profiles Tracy had sent me years ago into a polished PowerPoint and anonymously sent it to him. I heard Tracy fainted on the spot when she got the email. That day, Willow Grace and I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the city's twinkling lights. She hugged me from behind, her chin resting gently on my shoulder. Still thinking about the past, I shook my head, holding her hand. "No, I'm just thinking, if I hadn't met you, Where would I be now? You'd still do great with your own strength, she said confidently. No, I turned, looking into her eyes, saying earnestly, without you, my world would forever be gray. The childhood wounds I thought I'd never heal from disappeared long ago. That afternoon I met you.